I want to give a little shout out to Max Domi. Because last night against the Calgary Flames in Calgary, Domi was the ultimate dagger that sealed the deal in overtime. First off, it was actually Carey Price who makes a really good save on an individual Calgary Flame coming in on net. Then Domi picks it up, rushes down the other side, comes right into the zone, slaps it on net et la bout, and that is all it takes for the Montreal Canadiens to wrap up what was a really solid overtime period. I gotta give credit where credit is due. The Habs have honestly improved their overtime and what they've been capable of doing in the extra 5 minutes, and a lot of that does have to do with possession. They had a lot of really good chances. Ultimately, Carey Price bails them out towards the end, and Domi seals the deal to end the game off. Now let's talk a little bit specifically about Max Domi, because I didn't watch the game last night. I was doing my own PJHL play-by-play. As a result, I didn't watch the Canucks game either, so yeah. But Max Domi is a very polarizing player amongst the Montreal Canadiens fan base right now. And let's talk a little bit about that right here. This will be a little Domi appreciation video, but also it's not gonna be me telling everybody that they're wrong about what these Domi criticisms have had to offer, because I will say that everything that Domi has been experiencing, we've kind of seen it before, right? This is pretty much the same story we had with Jonathan Drouin from last year. And it's not necessarily something that I think Habs fans are too unfamiliar with. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about here, let's just go over the numbers, because they kind of tell the whole story here. Last year, Max Domi had 72 points in 82 games, and he had 28 goals. He was a pretty good offensive machine, and he was the guy who led Montreal offense. Coming over from the Arizona Coyotes after the Galchenyuk trade, he bolstered up his career numbers, went from a 52-point guy in his rookie year at 20 years old to a 72-point guy at 23 years old. He scored 9 goals each in the previous 2 years and jumped that up to 28 goals, which was a huge improvement. As a result, people were expecting Max Domi to be one of the prime contributors offensively to this Montreal Canadiens team, and for the most part, that's what he was last year, and that's what he was supposed to be this year. Everybody thought, okay, yeah, Domi will be one of the highest scoring Habs. He could probably reach 75 points if everything goes right and he actually does progress in the same way that he did last year. But this year, Max Domi isn't doing that. This year, Max Domi is all the way down there at 5th on the team in scoring, where last year he led the team in points in its entirety. He has, right now at the moment, 23 points in 35 games played. He's got 7 goals as well, which is really a step down from that 28-goal improvement that he made last year. Which is why people have been talking about Max Domi, and talking about him in the same way that people talked about Drouin last year. And if you watch his play out there on the ice, many could agree that the Domi last year and the Domi this year are two primarily different players. There are still the same qualities to both, but one of them was a lot more carefree and a lot more productive, while the other is trying a little bit too hard and is not getting the results desired as a result. So, people have been talking about Domi for the past few weeks now, about how, hey, the guy needs to simplify his game. The guy needs to come in here, stop trying to dangle his way through, and start just throwing it on net a little bit more. The guy needs to do a little bit more of what made him successful last year in order to get back to that mark. He needs to simplify his game, and he needs to just go with the flow. When he was with Arizona, Domi would try a little bit too hard, which is why he only got 9 goals in a year those 2 seasons before getting traded to Montreal. Last year, he was just out there playing his game, doing his thing, and not allowing the pace of play to dictate his style. That's how he got 28 goals, and that's how he was able to be productive. Well, I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, last year, Max Domi was shooting at 14%, and that is the biggest contributor as to why he was able to get 28 goals. I'll tell you what, he got those 28 goals on 203 shots. Right now, today, Domi is at 88 shots. 88 shots in 35 games played. If you multiply that over 82 games in a season, he's on pace for the same amount of shots at 206. And today, this season, he's shooting at 8%, which is almost half of what he was shooting at last year. If he maintains his pace of shooting at 8% and he continues to get upwards of 206 shots, Domi will most likely only get 17 goals on the year, which is a significant decrease from his 28 last year. Now, that's not me saying that I'm going to be okay with that, because I will acknowledge the fact that going from a 14 shooting percentage in one year to an 8 shooting percentage in the other year is just really unlucky. But at the same time, I'm not going to pretend like that's an acceptable decline. Sure, it's unrealistic for Max Domi to have the expectation of shooting at 14% in his entire career. Only the best in the NHL are able to shoot at that number. But to say that Domi has not been a little bit worse than he was last year wouldn't be necessarily true either. Which is why, to me, it was really nice to see Domi finally get one of those slappers to go. Last year, he comes in, he does his thing, boom, takes the Habs by storm. This year, not so much. But last night, however, picks up the rebound off of Carey Price's save in the corner, comes right down, slaps it on goal, et la boue. He's been trying to score those slappers on the rush quite a bit this season, and a lot of them have kind of killed off the play because they kind of just go wide. It's nice for him to finally get one to go. It really is. And I think that's a big boost for the confidence. It says to him, hey, I can do these slap shots and they're actually going to work. And if one goes in, it might just open the floodgates for more to go in. Not specifically slap shots on the rush, but just goals in general. Because Max Domi is a player who was second on the Habs in goals last year. This year, he's not at that mark at all. This year, Max Domi is all the way down there at 6th on the team in goals. And he's in a 4-way tie with Philippe Danault, Nick Suzuki, and an injured Jonathan Drouin. So if there's a player to really step things up in the upcoming weeks, in spite of the Drouin injury, it will be Domi. And I might preface that by saying it's probably a little bit too late to say that because we are at the end of the year. Drouin got injured a few weeks ago, but Domi is still Domi. He's a heart and soul kind of guy. He plays with a ton of intensity, but I will say that he wasn't being the best over the past few weeks. Does that mean that he will be eternally doomed? No, it doesn't, but I'm just saying that I still appreciate the playstyle, I still appreciate the hustle, and I appreciate the fact that he finally got a goal. Do I think he'll end the season off with 28 goals? No, I don't think he will do that anymore. But a good 20 sounds fine. If he eclipses that 17-goal pace that he's about to reach if he takes a look at the shooting percentage and the shots, it would be nice for Max Domi to hit 20 this year. Wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be nice if we were older and we wouldn't have to wait so long? Then we could finally see how many goals Domi gets, because he's on pace for about 17 at the moment. If you take a look at his goals divided by games played times 82, and if you take a look at his shots divided by 35 times 82, and you multiply that by the shooting percentage, he's on pace for about 17, which is a big decrease. But getting to 20 would be nice. I'm not saying I'm expecting 20, I'm saying it would be nice, but I am saying here that all in all I still appreciate the Domi game. I still think he has room to grow, and the Domi we saw from last season where he was almost at a point per game, that Domi's not dead. that Domi can still come alive eventually. It's just, this has been quite a bad rut for him over this season. We saw Drouin escape through it last year, so there's definitely hope for Domi. But this video is just a little bit of an appreciation here, so I hope you enjoyed this video. So should I, Troll Slaying 9, and bye.